Synapse has appreciated by 850% in a very short time span. The question is, what's triggering all of this? Who's buying here? Who's selling here? Is this another crypto pump and dump? Or is there something substantial going on? Let's have a look at the on-chain data, the data most people are not considering, to try to figure out if this here can continue. Other cryptocurrencies of the same size, they just went down last month. Synapse is the only real outperformer. And even the news outlets, they seem to not know what's going on. Hi, my name is Gerhard. I've been in the crypto space for the last 8 years. I hit my first million 3 years ago, and it is mainly through active altcoin trading. My track record is in the link down below, and while most others have lost money in the last 2 years, we are actually up. So 2 years ago, I started to publish my trades in real time. With the current open positions, we are at an all-time high, and we have made 47% per annum. The current live positions are of course available to the premium members, but all the closed positions, they can be seen on the public website as well. So this is updated in real time. As you check the page, even this headline number might have already changed. Now, Synapse is a protocol to move assets across blockchains, to bridge them. So let's say you've got your stablecoins on Avalanche and you actually want to have them on Ethereum. You can use Synapse to transport those tokens. That's a very useful feature, and I've used it as well. But that usefulness does not explain the recent price appreciation. There are a few hints posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, as in there have been a lot of liquidations with that rally. Others point towards potential whale activity, so large holders that just accumulate the SYN token. Now, I've got my thoughts as well. If you are active on Twitter, or now known as X, then feel free to also follow this channel over here. I publish regularly. Make sure that you follow the right account though. So that's at BitcoinStrat. This is my only account. Please do not follow any impersonator or any scammer. At BitcoinStrat is the only real account. Now have a look at the following chart. This is Synapse relative to the altcoin market. Long term, this trends down clearly. So from February of 2023 to the bottom just before this pump, the Synapse price underperformed by 99%. But every now and then we get those very quick rallies. For example, over here, 100%, or over here, 150%. And then those rallies deflate again. Now, if you've been following this channel, you know exactly what those rallies are. Those are short squeezes. So when an asset tends to underperform long term, it invites a speculative trade. It invites a trade of betting on falling prices of that altcoin. Now, if enough people bet on a falling altcoin price, then there's also the incentive to manipulate that price. Let's say there are many people betting on a falling price, then the market makers that have a lot of capital, they can buy up the token and then liquidate all the people that bet on falling prices and then take advantage of those liquidations. Now, those market makers buy a token not to hold it long term. They just buy it for the sole purpose to trigger liquidations. That's why the price tends to pump up and subsequently fall down again. And those pumps tend to be very, very quick, just in order to liquidate as many people as possible. That's what's going on with rallies like this. We pump and then very quickly dump again. Now this time it looks slightly different, as in we have pumped way more than we ever did in the past. The reason why Synapse underperforms long term is its increasing supply. There's more token hitting the market every year, and while going forward that inflation is not too bad, as in we add another 4% over the course of the next 12 months. It used to be much worse. There was really no real incentive to hold the SYN token. Now almost 90% of supply is already circulating. Now, an expanding supply wouldn't have been a problem if the project grows at the same rate, right? If the supply doubles at the same time the demand for the token more than doubles, then the price goes up. But that's unfortunately not what happened for Synapse. Synapse used to have capital under management that was more than $1 billion. That has shrunk down to just 11 million, a decline of 99%. The fees that get generated via bridging activity also pretty much went to zero. Why did this happen? There are several reasons, but for example, decentralized exchanges now allow for cross-chain swaps. So we don't have to manually bridge things anymore. We can just swap from one chain to the next using the Uniswaps of this world. We can see though that this recent rally generated a lot of attention. Here's the number of social engagements over time. Synapse has never been that actively discussed. Now those kinds of short squeezes, they tend to be generated using centralized exchanges. In other words, the on-chain metrics are likely not changing. So we've got 250,000 of holders on Arbitrum of the token, and we've got 10,000 holders on Ethereum. Here are the numbers of holders of the Synapse token on ETH. On the left side, a wallet has told at least 4,000 tokens to be counted on that chart. In the middle, it's 40,000 tokens. On the right, it's 400,000 tokens. This equates to $1,000, $10,000, $100,000. We can see that despite this massive rally, the number of holders has not changed for any of those cohorts. That's for Ethereum, and for Arbitrum, the numbers don't look that different. What's really going on here is leverage trading. On the spot market, we had 47 million worth of trading volume. On the perpetual futures market, we had almost 800 million worth of trading volume. And so those short squeezes happen all the time. Have a look at how much the funding rate fluctuates. Whenever the price shoots up, the funding rate goes massively negative. And that's because all the shorts got liquidated, the longs are the leftovers, and they have to pay the remaining shorts a hefty funding rate. And that's exactly what's currently happening as well. As long as the funding rate is negative, the short squeeze continues and the price will rise further. Once the funding rate normalizes again, this rally will likely stop. In fact, it will likely revert again, as it always happened in the past. And that's really the opportunity here. We have to figure out at what point do we see the reversal. And then we have to enter that reversal early enough to still get some benefit from the future decline. That's the basic strategy that I follow with many altcoins right now. Check out the open interest, so the amount of leverage that's currently in Synapse. It's at an all-time high. And again, this is highly correlating with the price. Once the open interest falls, the price will follow in the subsequent days. The trading volume, of course, spikes as well. So do the short liquidations. So getting into a short position today is probably too risky because we don't know when the short squeeze ends. Everybody knows that the current prices are not sustainable, but nobody knows how much longer the rally can last. The market can stay irrational for much longer than we can stay liquid. That's the issue with betting on falling prices. And so that's why I like to run simulations of buying and selling. And I try to find out what are the kind of trading rules that historically worked the best for a particular asset. When was it historically the best time to short Synapse, for example? When historically did we stop with the current rally? My favorite approach is to use golden crosses, or for shorting, death crosses. When do we see the two moving averages crossing, so the shorter term going below the longer term, to then potentially bet on reversal of the current rally? So that's what I've done here with Bitcoin Strategy Analytics. This is also available to the premium members. You can backtest pretty much any asset over here. You can also add your own asset by clicking this button. And in this case, we are backtesting Synapse versus Bitcoin. So the relative valuation. We are going both long and short. We rebalance our leverage, which is just 1x daily. And then we find out the best combination. What's the best slow moving average? What's the best fast moving average? And the best combination, that's over here. It is the 3-day and 8-day simple moving average. Here is how well that worked. If you bought and hold Synapse, you would have lost 55% per annum. If you followed this trading strategy, you'd be up by 170% per annum, right? This is not over the entire period. This is per annum. And here is how well that performance looked like over time. A very nice constant outperformer. Every single year, this strategy made money, and that accelerated with the recent short squeeze. So this is then how that looks like on a chart, right? We are looking for the golden, but especially the death cross. Whenever the shorter term moving average goes below the longer term moving average, the 3-day is below the 8-day. So for example, we had a death cross over here on the 4th of February, and subsequently the price declined. And then here is the golden cross. That's then when we close the position. Currently, we are again still in a bull run. We have not yet seen our death cross, so betting on a falling Synapse price right now is probably a bit too early. We have to wait for the death cross to occur. We have to wait for the current momentum to cool down. But this is the entire secret of how to make money like this. This constant, very high performance is not just luck. It comes from following data. It comes from following trading strategies that historically worked well. For example, for Luna Classic, we did the exact same thing. Every trade, again, is locked, and you can see the exact trading signal by clicking on those dates. And let's have a look at Luna Classic. So we did the exact same thing. We waited until the current rally stops, until we got our death cross. And it's very dangerous to just short while the rally is still intact, right? You might have gotten squeezed out several times in a row. We want to wait until the momentum turns around. For Luna Classic, the best SMAs were 6 and 10 days. And then we closed that position once we got the golden cross. So that's how we made money on that particular trade, the 14.6%. But you can see not every trade here is a money maker, right? So this is not a perfect strategy. But again, long term, we're doing more than fine. If you don't have time for manual copy trading, or if that's not your thing, there's also an automatic copy trading vault. Last year, we made annualized 44%. Currently, we are halfway there. When Synapse hits its death cross, I will definitely open a short position as well. And I will of course also announce this to the premium members. This is very likely going to be another money maker. If you want to get that trading signal, including all the others, then feel free to check out the premium membership. There's also a 7-day money back guarantee. In case you don't like premium, just email me over here and I'll refund you, no questions asked. If you're interested in the automatic copy trading, then you will have to join the annual membership. So you do have some savings doing the annual, but again, it's probably best to just start manual first. Generate your first profit, and then if you get tired trading yourself, or if you don't have the time anymore, you can reinvest those profits later on. So yeah, this Synapse rally is just manipulation again, but that manipulation might last for a bit longer. We have to wait until the attention moves away from the asset, until another asset pumps, and then we can bet on falling prices. Right now, it's better to just stay away. At least that's what I personally do. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. Helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube, or see you on Premium. Link to that pops up here on the screen as well. See you next time. Cheers.